What's going on, everybody? So I'm going to give you some preliminary findings on the LG C2. Now, this might not be something that everybody buying a C2 wants to hear, but if the C1 is available, they are just very similar. I mean, even though it says it's Evo, I'm not seeing a significant boost in brightness over the C1 to the point of making the C1 irrelevant. Same goes for the picture quality. I haven't done a direct side-by-side, but that's pretty much the vibe. This feels a lot like a C1. It really does. Now, there are some nice things, and I'll talk about those, but for the most part, there you go. Snag the C1 while it's on sale. That's the honest answer. Now, again, that's not to say the C2 is bad, but again, I'm not seeing it, right? So let's talk about some of the good things first, okay? So you still have the HDMI signaling override menu. So if you go 1113111 on your Magic Remote, you can change colorimetry to BT 2020 if you so choose to, even though I just put it at 601 just there. So let's go back and do that again. We're gonna go 1113111, and then instead of 601, there we go, BT 2020. So you can do that still if that's something that you choose to do. I love using this method personally, so if you wanted that color space, it's there. DCI still does absolutely nothing, which kind of makes me feel like more of what I kind of feel like this is just a C1 2.0. Again, it's not to say that it's a bad TV, and I'm sure there are more things to investigate as we dig deeper, but that is the initial takeaway. Also, there are no new picture presets. I mean, this is pretty much every single preset that this TV has to offer. It's pretty much the same as the C1, which is literally right next door. So, I mean, seriously, it's the same thing for the most part. Now, I can try to pull up the setting menu here on the C1. Let's press and hold the settings menu on the C1. And I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see. So it's going to be a little jerry-rigged, okay, because I'm trying to do this at an angle. But I want you guys to be able to see, like the picture preset menu, it's virtually identical. Actually, what I'll do, we're going to pick this bad boy up and we're just going to walk and shimmy, okay? We're going to shimmy this way, okay? We're going to zoom out a little bit more and line it up like that. There we go. Okay. So now that we've got ourselves all situated, you can kind of see that it's basically the same exact thing. You've got Vivid, you've got Standard, you've got APS, Cinema, Sports, Game Optimizer, Filmmaker User, Expert Bright, and Expert Dark from the ISF. Literally nothing new has been added to the picture preset. And again, this adds to that whole vibe of feeling like it's a C1 2.0. Now, one of the nice things that I do like that the C2 offers, we're gonna go back over here now, okay? Zoom in a little bit, like so. All right, there we go. Okay, and one of the nice things, right? So let's say we go to like something like, I don't know, what's the mode people like? Torch mode, Vivid, right? A nice thing is that you do have different color options. They're grayed out here. Let's try to go back. There's also a problem with the C1. This is not the C1, the C2. I can say C1 because it really feels like a C1. Where you do have a lot of grayed out options, so that's something that I am dealing with right now that I am trying to figure out. So right now, I want to show you something. Okay, so we go back, we go 1113111, just so you can see the colorimetry has been set to auto, right? It's the auto default colorimetry. What's nice about the C2 that the C1 can't really do is when you go to dynamic, it gets pretty vibrant, almost as vibrant as what you could find on BT 2020. Almost. And again, you have the addition of Adobe RGB. If you want to fine tune those colors for a more accurate looking color, you can do that. Though they look a little bit more orange and a little more warm than what you'd get on dynamic, which looks a lot more vibrant. And then of course, native and vibrant. Native is a lot more saturated than vibrant, so I wouldn't say a lot more, just like a hair more saturated, but they look very identical. And then auto is just the default Rec 709 look, right? Okay, so again, that's a nice little addition there, but again, these are kind of like a little bit redundant, if I'm being honest, between dynamic and native. Now, other things that I don't like, just kind of being honest with you, if you look, all of this is grayed out. Right now, I'm on PlayStation 5. It's a huge problem because I'm on the most recent firmware update. That didn't fix anything, right? And just so we show you the firmware that I'm on, we go to support, we go to updates, and I'm on version 0310.38, okay? Yeah, currently on this software, everything is grayed out on PlayStation. It's a lot like when I first got the C1, how everything was grayed out with PS4 Pro. This kind of handshaking issue is following over. Now again, there's not any issue with Fire Stick TV or Blu-ray players, but for whatever reason, PlayStation 5 is really like where I'm seeing the biggest problem. So I don't know what the heck that's all about. And it's really irritating because, again, even the peak brightness feature is disabled, basically. You want to use noise reduction? Can't do that either. I mean, like, the whole thing is just a big block of grayed out nonsense. So I have no idea how to fix that right now. I'm still myself trying to troubleshoot it. So if I can figure that out, great. If I can't, boy, that sucks. Hopefully they patch it like they did with the C1, because that's a big deal, especially now. You know, like that's totally not how you should start off your product launch, but whatever. As far as, again, initial picture quality, it's not really a whole lot that I can really say to the credit of it being like truly incredible, because I'm not really seeing the full scope of what it's capable of, if I'm being honest with you, right? So I'm going to try to go to something that like is a little bit more cinematic. We'll just go back a little bit, right? And again, I'll just go back in that. And again, you can kind of see like the motion is good, but so was the motion on the C1. And my thing is like brightness was the thing that this TV like claimed to famed like all day, every day. The whole Evo concept. I'm expecting the C1 to get absolutely blown back into the water. And I'm just not seeing that. See, like it uses some cheap tricks like using dynamic contrast, which would be under, I believe, color. No, not under color. It should be under the brightness tab. Yes, auto dynamic contrast. Turn that off. You turn that off, and then, of course, you're not going to have anywhere near the brightness. So the brightness is kind of tied in with the dynamic contrast this year for whatever reason. Makes no sense, right? But yeah, that's kind of one of the things you'll see. And you really don't want to be using that because it literally destroys the picture. So if you're not using that and peak brightness is turned off because it's grayed out on PS5, you're kind of now super limited. And I don't know, it just feels really restrictive. That's the thing I can say right now about the C2. Is it a bad TV? No, I mean, I like that it looks a lot more like a Sony OLED. It definitely has that vibe for sure as far as that. But I mean, even like in the way like some motion was rendered in like Blu-rays and on some TV shows, it kind of felt like motion was a little bit worse than the C1, not as fluid. So I really need to check that out and test that, because right now I haven't done any side-by-side tests. So we got to see where this goes. But honestly, like if you were on the fence and you're like, oh my God, the C2 just came out, I don't know if now's a good time to buy. Unless you're somebody that like never intends on using the BT 2020 color space, right? Like you just say, screw that, I hate the HDMI signaling override. I want Rec 709 to look incredible. Then I think, yeah, maybe get the C2, because that dynamic feature and the Adobe RGB does come in clutch where we don't have that. Again, I can't do anything, as you see, but you can clearly see, like, even for their Vivid mode, which is what we're in, the torch mode that they're going to use to sell these TVs, they're using that brand new dynamic feature because it makes Rec 709 look a lot closer to what BT 2020 looks like, again, with just how vibrant the colors look. So that's really what they're doing this year different that I can tell so far. There is a lot of grain. I see a load of oversaturation on this particular image, but it's something I'm going to obviously have to work to get out. But that being said, I am going to put more time into this. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit more of an update, because I know a lot of you guys are like, all right, what's the deal? The sales are happening right now. I don't want to miss my window of opportunity if it's not necessary. And I'm here to tell you right now, master calibrator status on the line. Just putting that out there. I would go with the C1. Why? Because it's still available and it's producing 99.9% of the image quality I've seen so far out of the C2, even with the so-called Evo panel. I'm not seeing anything truly different about it. Now, again, I'll super stress test it to verify, but so far in the early going, I have not seen a really Evo or step up over the C1. It's just not there. And that's as honest as I can tell you right now from what I've seen. So again, I'm gonna get back to work here. I'm gonna really try to figure out the graying out issues if possible, and motion, and anything else you guys can put down below as far as feedback and what you're looking for out of this review, and that's what we'll try to cover. That being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty, and until the next video, I'll see you guys later.